the Queen's coffin is still in Balmoral in Scotland, but that will change today, and a series of significant events will take place this week. As the Queen's coffin moves south to London, King Charles III will feature in various ceremonies in Scotland, Northern Ireland, England, and Wales, as the Commonwealth mourns the Queen's death. Here is a daily guide to the timetable of official funeral events. All times listed are UK, with relevant as conversions.READ. More, what we know about plans for the Queen's funeral Sunday, September 11 at around 10 a.m. BST, 7 p.m. AEST. The Queen's oak coffin will be transported by her gamekeepers to a waiting hearse. The hearse will make a slow, 6-hour journey south to Edinburgh, around 280 kilometres from her beloved sprawling estate in Aberdeenshire. The coffin will arrive at the Palace of Holyrood House, where it will rest in the throne room. In London, King Charles will meet the Commonwealth Secretary-General at Buckingham Palace. The King will then host Realm High Commissioners and their spouses in the ballroom at the palace. Read more. Here are the new titles the British royal family will now receive Monday, September 12. The King and Camilla, the Queen Consort, travel to Westminster, where both Houses of Parliament will express their condolences. From there, the pair travel by plane to Edinburgh. First, they will visit Holyrood House. The King will inspect a guard of honour and a ceremony of the keys will take place on the palace forecourt. In the afternoon, the Queen's coffin will travel by procession to St Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh, accompanied by the King and members of the royal family. The Queen's body will lie in rest at the cathedral. Members of the public will be able to view her coffin. The King then returns to Holyrood. There he will meet Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon. The King and Queen Consort will attend the Scottish Parliament and receive a motion of condolence. That evening, King Charles III and others in the royal family will hold a vigil at St Giles Cathedral. Read more. Australian public holiday announced to mourn the death of Queen. Tuesday, September 13. Princess Anne, the Queen's only daughter, will accompany the Queen's coffin from St Giles Cathedral to Edinburgh Airport. She will also be on the plane, carrying the Queen's coffin, to RAF Northolt, about 10 kilometres north of Heathrow in West London. The Queen's flight is expected to land about 1900 hours, 4 a.m., and it will be taken to Buckingham Palace. King Charles III and Camilla will observe the arrival of the coffin, before it is placed in the ballroom. Prior to that, the King and Camilla will have flown from Edinburgh to Belfast, and on to Hillsborough Castle. The King will meet the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland and party leaders and receive a message of condolence led by the Speaker of the Northern Ireland Assembly. He will also attend a remembrance service at St Anne's Cathedral. Read more. Tears as royals emerge from Balmoral after Queen's death. Wednesday, September 14. Today is a significant day in the mourning period. It begins with the imperial state crown, orb and scepter and flowers placed on the Queen's coffin. The royal family will hold prayers. Just after 2 p.m., 11 p.m. AEST, the Queen's coffin is carried in a gun carriage procession from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Hall at the Palace of Westminster. On foot, King Charles will lead members of the royal family walking behind the procession. Over 40 minutes, and watched by massive crowds, the coffin will travel past Queen Victoria Memorial Lawn to Pall Mall, through the Horse Guards Parade, Whitehall, Parliament Square and into New Palace Yard. At Westminster Hall, the lying-in state will begin. It will continue for 5 days, with hundreds of thousands of people expected to visit the Queen at Westminster Hall. The Queen's coffin will be placed on a raised platform, known as a catafalque. Guards will stand at each of the 4 corners, 24 hours a day. Thursday, September 15. This is the first full day of lying in state in Westminster Hall. No public events are to take place on this day and the King will not be seen in public. Friday, September 16. The Queen's coffin will lie in state for a second full day. People will be able to pay their respects. The King and Camilla will travel to Wales, marking the final of his visits to all 4 nations of the United Kingdom as king. Read more. The life and achievements of Queen Elizabeth II. Saturday, September 17. The coffin lies in state for the 3rd full day. Sunday, September 18. The Queen's coffin lies in state for the 4th full day. Monday, September 19. In the morning, the period of lying in state will end. The Queen's coffin will be taken in procession to Westminster Abbey for the state funeral, which is expected to start around 10:50 a.m., 7:50 p.m. EST. Following the funeral, the coffin will travel in procession from Westminster Abbey to Wellington Arch. From Wellington Arch, the coffin will travel to Windsor, and once there, the state hearse will travel in procession to St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle via the Long Walk.A committal service will be held at St. George's Chapel, around 4 p.m., 1 a.m. At the end of the service, the Queen's coffin will be lowered into the royal vault. A private burial will be held with the King and other members of the royal family that evening, and the Queen will be laid to rest.